Sis, they doing it again.
I'm sick of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Arkansas Department of Education has recently decided that students in the Arkansas public high schools enrolled in advanced placement African American studies courses will not be able to receive credit towards graduation for taking this course. This decision came as teachers and students across the state were preparing to start the school year, and several high schools had planned to offer the course this school year. They dropped the ball on them right before school started.
Mm-hmm.
The education department's move comes after Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Y'all might know her as the heifer that was the lion Trump press secretary.
Yes.
Signed an executive order in January prohibiting indoctrination and critical race theory in schools. African American
First of all,
history
let's be
is neither one of
clear.
those things.
First of all, let's be clear. School is, by definition, indoctrination. That's the that is exactly what our education system is. It is
It's
already
education.
that.
They call it education.
No, it is indoctrination into an American way of thinking, a way of working through problems, a way of understanding history. All of it is indoctrination. That's number one. Number two, just say we don't like black people and we are just tired of them and we just don't like black people at all. Like, just say that.
I don't think it's we don't like black people. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's that.
No,
not totally.
It is part of it is that.
Yeah, part of it is that, but not totally.
But a large part of it is we're tired of being uncomfortable for being white.
Mm-hmm. And for those people that say, well, they feel guilty, that talking about this stuff makes them feel guilty, I would say this. You benefit from all the privileges that your forefathers gave to you. Mm-hmm. You talk about it all the time, your freedoms. Mm-hmm. And I'm not talking about people who are defending the freedoms, because once again, they're just defending the freedoms that you were already given. You can't bask in and benefit in the goodness of the forefathers without acknowledging the atrocities. You can't just take the good and not take the bad. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Either take none of it or take all of it. So if you feel so much pride swell in your heart for being American and being a patriot, recognize all the bad as well. And that comes with guilt, pride and guilt. That is what it is.
Yeah.
That is what it is.
It's unavoidable because the past, if we are looking at it objectively, was trash. It was straight up horrible, and you need to reckon with that and reconcile that. Like, there is no escape from an uncomfortable past because it happened. Mm-hmm. It really happened. And there are people who still, to this day, they call it post-slave syndrome, I think. Don't quote me on that. But there is still a generational trauma that we carry.
Yeah.
From what we went through during enslavement.
But not only enslavement, everything after that as well. Because, what I always tell people every day is I have my mom and dad's birthdays tatted on my arm. They were born in 57 and 58, which means that I am the first one of that generation that was born with all of their rights given by the government. My parents were not born with all of their rights given because the Civil Rights Act wasn't until 1965. The Voting Rights Act wasn't until 1967. And guess what? They still didn't even start integration in schools until they started it in certain areas in the 60s, but they really didn't push it until the 70s, which means that my parents basically weren't getting equal education all the way up through high school. So don't tell me, I have a friend of mine that was like, I grew up poor. And I was like, no, there's a difference between being poor and broke.
Right.
I was like, you had your own room in a house. That's not poor.
That's not poor.
That's not poor. We didn't have a lot of money because, my parents messed up a little bit of money. Well, and then they wouldn't spend a lot of money. Well, I was like, that's being broke and then being cheap. That's not
Yeah.
poor.
That's not poor.
That's
Yeah.
not poor. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
And well, I had to go to, college, was real poor. Everybody's poor in college.
Everybody's
I
poor in
had,
college.
I had,
Everybody's living off cup of noodles and water.
right. Everybody's
Everybody.
poor in college. It's not the same thing. I had to work my way up. Well, no. Okay. Because once again, you came from a family that had a house and you had a bed. You had your own bedroom. I was like, you know how old
Yeah.
I was until I got my own bedroom? 13.
Right.
12, technically, if you want to count the way and I, finagled you out of your room.
Mm-hmm. Which you did.
I did do that.
Yeah.
But we're not done here. If you like that clip, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to catch up on all of our latest content. Don't forget to hit the notification button when you do subscribe so you can get updated every time we release content. We release content every day, whether it's an actual show or clips from the shows. So go ahead and subscribe, like, comment. Also, don't forget our Patreon page where you can find our Talking Straight-ish and After Hours Uncensored episodes. That's patreon.com/unsolicited perspectives. But once again, thank you again for listening to Unsolicited Perspectives. I'm your host, Bruce Anthony, and I'm going to catch you next time. I'll holla.